Joining me live is Liberal Senator Andrew Bragg, you've got assistant something in there, housing.
Thanks, Tom. How are you?
I assume it's that or not, something similar?
As we discussed last time, close enough. But it is very important that younger people can get access to a mortgage because if you can't get a mortgage, you can't get a house. And so
what would you change on that exactly? What's your early indication on what you might do?
We're going to have a look at the rules that banks have to apply. There are a lot of rules here and they are, I think, very expensive and cumbersome. And they may be hurting the ability of first home buyers to get that elusive first mortgage. We'll also look at the 3% buffer. We'll look at the impact of HECS debts on the ability of people to get loans. So I think it's quite an important area.
Right. The RBA has control at the moment. It's important to make it independent because when you look at what happened in the GFC, they didn't have the controls on housing we do and the whole system collapsed. So that you might go, gee, it's bad they don't let people in, but it's good that it's so stable.
Yeah, we want to have unquestionably strong banks. Right? We don't want to weaken the prudential standards, but we want to look at whether there are any avenues to tilt the scales in favour of first home buyers because the deposit cliff is massive. Serviceability can be very difficult, and so you never hear the government talk about these issues, but for many Australians, these are the issues that are facing them.
And finally on this, before I throw over to the panel, refinancing, there's still a buffer on that. Now that seems crazy because that loan is already in the system. You're not making it less or more stable. Is there a case there to just say, if you want to refinance, there doesn't have to be any buffer at all? It's just up to that bank to assess you how they'd like to?
Look, to be brutally honest, we're much more focused on helping first home buyers. First home buyers is going to be the key part of our policy because the Australian dream is about people. It's not about institutions, big super funds, BlackRock, Vanguard.
So someone out there struggling with a loan, don't worry about them.
No, we're looking at mortgage offsets. There'll be a policy for them as well, but we want to really make sure that first home buyers can get a bite of that Australian dream.
Wasn't it your former government that tightened the lending rules, though? You probably made it harder for first home buyers.
APRA administered these laws, and we have the responsible lending laws in place, which Labor put in place some years ago. So we're going to look at all these component parts.
Is it true to say that what you want to see at this election is the Liberals saying, we are the party of home ownership, Labor's given up on that dream?
That's right. And I think if you can't get a mortgage, you can't get a house. Now, the housing ministers in the Labor government never make this point, but I think it is key to people's individual experience. I mean, I've heard from people who could get a loan, but they can't because of their HECS debt.
Well, they're trying to get equity in the system and you won't pass that bill, right? Where you can have some government equity assistance.
The government equity schemes, it's a dog of an idea. I mean, even the states have repealed their own policies. If this was important to the government, they would put it to a vote. This was the centrepiece of their last election launch 2.5 years ago. Put it to a vote, have a debate.